Today is the first day of the rest of your life, and your future planning started yesterday. You need simple, easy strategies to create maximum results. This is The Scotty Show. Time to get your ducks in a row with Scott Leonardi, owner and president of Complete Solutions, Inc. As a certified financial fiduciary with 25 years in the planning industry, Scott helps educate you on how you can make the best decisions for your family and your finances, and helps you get your ducks in a row for your incredible future. Let's get started.
Hello and welcome to the Scotty Show with Scott Leonardi. I will tell you this, audience. Here's the thing. I got a little honesty here. Scott sends me some notes ahead of time every once in a while, and it says, "Hey, this is what we're going to talk about today." And then we come on for this recording. Scott, you sent me these notes at like 3 o'clock in the morning. What are you doing up at 3 a.m.?
Listen, it's about go, right?
I guess.
It's just kind of crazy. You know, I said a crazy day yesterday. I was just running like crazy, and just I'll tell you this quick little story. You know, so we bought a new house, and not new house. It was built in 1988, but newer for us. And out in the country, gives a few more acres. Need room for that chickens, if you remember the chicken story.
Yes.
Back a while ago. So we bought this new house. Very excited about this new house. So we actually called our pastor, and we asked our pastor to come over and bless our house, right?
Yeah.
And our pastor's awesome. Just, Pat and Jackie Murray, and just an awesome couple. If you're ever in Ohio, Dayton area, Living Word Church, a great place, just a wonderful place, but great people. So they're coming over to bless the house, and we're going to go to lunch, right? And so I'm pumped up and fired up. A beautiful sunny day in the morning. Everything is wonderful and great. My wife's telling me, don't tell him nothing you're going to embarrass me on, right? Because I always tell my wife. I said, listen. My wife says, you talk too much. I said, listen. I always want to give people my 2 cents. She says, Scott, you never give people 2 cents. You always give people a nickel, right?
Yeah.
And so I said, okay, well, here's your nickel, baby. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, what can I do? I want to make sure I tell the story. So they come over, and we're walking through the house and that kind of stuff. And there was a couple of boxes they had to walk around. I said, I apologize. I said, those are new toilets. And he goes, as my wife's starting to roll her eyes, I said, Pastor, I got to tell you my toilet story, right? I said, I hate when you go someplace or go in a house, those really short toilets. Right, you know what I mean? They're really. It feels like you're sitting on like 12 inches from the ground. I just hate that. Because in the middle of the night you wake up, right? Then we moved to this house and they have short toilets, right? So the third night we're there, I wake up in the middle of the night, going to the bathroom. And I walk in there and go to the bathroom, and I'm kind of leaning down to go to the bathroom, right? And you think you're there, but you go to plop down, and you're still 6-8 inches away from the toilet, right?
Oh, no.
So I slammed onto this toilet. My wife goes, "Are you okay? You okay?" She thinks I broke my hip, right?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking I cracked the toilet seat, right? So I hate short toilets, right? So I'm telling the pastor, my wife's eyes are just kind of rolling. I said, so I went and said, I'm going to go buy me a new toilet. So I go up to Menards and pick out this new toilet. And of course, you go to toilets, it's crazy. You go in the store, right? It's not 2 toilets, right? There's like 63 different varieties of these toilets, right? So I buy this toilet, bring it home, love the toilet. So I got excited. So I thought, I'm going to go back and get 2 more toilets for the other 2 bathrooms, right? Well, in the meantime, I was talking to my son. He says, I hate short toilets too. I need to pick me up too. So we get there, and there's only 4 of these toilets left. so I said, I'm getting all 4 of these toilets, right?
Well, there you go.
So I got a guy from Menards helping me. We load them up on 2 carts, and we're walking back through the aisles, and these people are looking at me like, well, what's going on with this guy, right? And unfortunately, I went through the same checkout with the same lady, and she's got big eyes. She said, well, you have a heck of a toilet problem, no? The guy behind me goes, well, yeah, what's going on? I said, well, short toilets. He goes, you know what? I understand, enough said.
That's it.
So, so there's people out there that probably hate short toilets too. So that's my toilet.
I'm one of them.
So,
now all I can think about is, as I get older, those recliners that pick up and help you stand up?
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if they'll ever make a toilet like that. Probably a bad idea.
I tell you what, you get older, there you go. So I guess where I'm going with that story is my whole day was kind of running and crazy and excited. I was thinking my wife was going to be mad at me, but that's okay. So as I was running real late, it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't sleep. So that's why I dropped you those emails and gave you those notes. So
no, I do appreciate it.
When you can't sleep, drop a note to Eric. That's what I do. There you go.
That's it. Yeah, because I'm here.
Because you're there.
I'm reading my emails on the toilet. Oh, no, I'm not. Okay, here we go.
Short toilets, right?
Yeah.
I know there's listeners out there saying, I hate short toilets too. I know they are.
Absolutely. All right. So today we're talking about don't go broke in a nursing home, right? These are the notes you sent me. And this is a scary concept to me. I'll be honest. Nursing homes, I know they're extremely expensive. And I can see where people could be really nervous about that.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a tough topic, and I know we're trying to be positive, be excited, and learn about a concept here, but it does get kind of tough. So I actually co-authored a book called "Don't Go Broke in a Nursing Home" with a good friend of mine, Mr. Don
That's
Quante.
right.
So because
Yep.
I really wanted to help people understand. Education is a big mantra with me. People just need to learn because in the future, guess what? You're going to have issues. We're going to get older. We're going to get more frail. We're going to forget some stuff. I mean, that's a reality of life. And sometimes it's scary and sad, but that's reality. So the key is we have to be positive and deal with it and do what we can do to make it all work. I mean, does that kind of make sense? Right?
It does. Forgive me for my ignorance, but I know that Medicare is a big deal. Obviously people get excited when they get to that Medicare age because that definitely will save them, money from the time they stopped working to the time they can qualify for Medicare. But doesn't Medicare pay for at least most of a nursing home?
Yeah, it's kind of funny you say that. See, a lot of times people don't necessarily want to look into long-term care or figure it all out because they have some preconceived notions. One of those things is, well, Medicare takes care of that, don't they? Or it's just way too expensive, or I can't health qualify. So they have a lot of preconceived notions that stop them from actually learning about the concept and topic to begin with. I always tell people, there's 5 plans for long-term care. There really is 5 plans for long-term care. The first situation is your spouse or your kids. My spouse will take care of me, the kids will take care of me, here you go. The other one's Medicare. People think, well, Medicare's going to pay for it. Or Medicaid, And again, if you're in the senior realm, you think Medicare, Medicaid, aren't those programs for seniors? Well, no, I mean, Medicare is the health insurance program for seniors. Medicaid is for low income. It's help with those type of situations when you don't have the money to pay. So it's welfare. It's becoming a ward of the state. And of course, people think, well, I'll just use my own money, and then that's number 4. And the other is actually a strategic plan to actually pay for the care. So there's multiple plans for long-term care. The key is understanding them and understanding which one you want to work with. That's kind of the key.
All right, so let's start with number 1, your spouse or your kids. Is that a good plan or not?
Well, before we get into that, let me say this. This is a kind of crazy thought process. 7 out of 10 people, statistically, 7 out of 10 people over the age of 65 will use some form of long-term care. Now, that form could be home health care, which is the most popular place. If you got laid up, you had an issue, where do you want to be cared for at?
Yeah, I want to be at home.
In your home. You're not coming to my home, Eric, but your home, right? Your home. That's the most. So
but
home
you got tall
health,
toilets. Come on.
Okay, exactly right. Yeah, bring a tall toilet. I'll let you come. But home health care is one. Assisted living. Where you just need some help. You don't need the full blown nursing home, but assisted living. Adult daycare is becoming more and more popular, and then of course the full blown nursing home care. So 7 out of 10 people over the age of 65 will statistically need some type of care. Well, here's the other problem. I read this statistics about 3 months ago. It said 6 out of 10 people believe it's not going to be them. That math doesn't work, man. It doesn't work, right? If 7 out of 10 need it, 6 out of 10 believe it's not going to be them. Nobody thinks it's going to be them, but guess what? It's going to be them. It's going to be them. Yeah. So with that, we have this warped understanding of what caregiving means, right? I mean, sometimes people think caregiving means cooking and cleaning for each other. Well, Eric, if cooking and cleaning is caregiving, is your wife caregiving for you now?
Heck yeah, and I'm doing the same thing for her.
My wife's caregiving for me. You're caregiving. We're caregiving for our spouses right now, if that's what caregiving means.
Yeah.
But see, that's not caregiving. I mean, caregiving is when you need to go pick somebody up and move them 18, 20, 30 times a day.
Yeah.
Put them into the bathtub without hurting them and without hurting you, and sticking them on that short toilet, but hopefully you put a big toilet in. You're moving that through that process on a daily, consistent basis, and that is just incredibly tough. So when people think, well, we'll just take care of each other. And I'm like, oh, okay, both you guys are already 65 or 66 or whatever. When do you think you're going to need the care? Well, when we get older. So when you get older, what's the chances that you're going to be able to pick up your spouse and move your spouse and not hurt them, and more importantly, or as importantly, not hurt yourself?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the key. The idea that the spouse is going to take care of you, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work. Now, of course, you might help a little bit, but it doesn't work, right? And of course, the other concept is the children, right? Well, I took care of I got 5 kids, man. One of those kids, hopefully, statistically, are going to be there to help caregive for me, right? I'm hoping, right?
Yeah.
But what happens in children's lives? We encourage our kids. Yeah, we encourage our kids to go out and get a degree and go build a career and start their own family and all that kind of good stuff. And now we're going to expect them to come back and caregive for us.
Yeah.
Kids are moving all over the country for jobs, opportunities, different things like that. And it's difficult for them to come back and caregive. Yeah, they might come back and help mow the grass. They might be local where they can help you. But, I ask people, who's moving in with who? Are you moving in with them? They moving in with you? What about the grandkids? How is that going to affect the grandkids? How is it going to affect your daughter's, career and your job and her focus? And how is it going to affect her health? We take a look at caregivers today. Caregivers' health insurance claims are going through the roof because it's beating up the caregiver because it's a physical endeavor to help caregive.
Yeah.
So, kids caring for each other, caring for the parents it doesn't really work. And I tell people, discuss it with your kids. Don't think they're going to caregive for you, but understand the reality of that. Because, if you tell your kids, hey, listen, I'm thinking about buying some long-term care insurance because, you're not going to take care of me. What are the kids going to tell you to do? Don't buy that. I'm going to be here for you. I'll take care of you, Mom. Don't worry. I'm going to take care of you. Listen, they don't know what they're talking about. They don't know the reality of caregiving. So they'll help, but as a plan, it's not going to work. Matter of fact, I even tell people, listen, if you talk to your kids and you guys all still really believe that your kids are going to caregive for you, if you really believe that, buy a home health care plan. There's a great concept called home health care insurance. It's relatively inexpensive. It's fairly easy to qualify for. And that plan will actually pay for care in the household. So now you got a plan to help your kids help you. I mean, does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, Scott, I'll be honest. Today, before this podcast, I actually went and had 2 MRIs done back to back, which is that's a lot of fun, let me tell you. One on my right knee, one on my right shoulder. I'm 47 years old. I've been very active my entire life. My dad is 83 right now, and he's still 6'1". He's almost 200 pounds. And just with my shoulder the way it is, I couldn't pick him up and move him around if necessary. I'd love to be able to be there for my dad, but I wouldn't be effective as a caregiver. As you're saying this, I'm just realizing that there's just no way. And as much as I would have said 10, 15, 20 years ago, yeah, Dad, I'll be there for you, my body's telling me I'm not going to be able to do that.
Yeah, you're 100% right. And you see the problem, the time to start understanding this stuff is now when there's possibly time to plan, right?
Yep.
The other things people don't think about is, how does it affect your kids if they're caregiving for you? How does it affect their relationship with their kids? How does it affect their job and their future, which is their retirement, right?
Yeah.
How does it affect that whole process? And the other issues too, sometimes you'll have kids, some people tell me, well, my daughter Judy, she'll take care of me. She's the one that's going to help you. Really? You're going to lay all that on Judy?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, so now a lot of times you'll have a situation where one child is doing a lot of the caregiving, the other kids are out living their life. They're calling on the holidays, they're stopping at Christmas, but now that becomes a serious issue. And I've seen situations where now all of a sudden one child caregives, they have all the burden when the parents pass away. Those kids don't talk today because there's a lot of resentment that happens with that.
Yeah.
So it's about a plan. It's about a call to action. It's about a plan.
Okay, so obviously that's not a good idea. So Medicare. Talk to me about Medicare. What's that going to do for you?
Well, Medicare, not a whole lot, right? Medicare pays a very small portion of any type of a long-term care situation. And here's why. There's basically 2 levels of care, right? And there's kind of 3, but one's a stepping stone. 2 levels of care. One's skilled care. Skilled care. The other's custodial. So skilled care is a high acute level of care. You hurt yourself. Medicare rules say you have to spend 3 days in the hospital to even qualify for skilled care before you move on to a facility or a nursing home, right? So you got to meet those qualifications. But skilled is designed high level acute, get you better, get you home. Short-term type stuff. You broke your hip, you need to use a nursing home, rehab. Had a heart attack, stroke, you need to do some rehab and go home. So Medicare is great when it comes to that type of stuff. And of course, if you have a Medicare supplement, a secondary, it's going to pay in conjunction with Medicare. But after that, that's it. Medicare gives you 20 days if it's skilled care at 100% of the cost. Great, Merry Christmas, thank you very much, right? And then after that, there's you can have another 80 days if you qualify, but it's a pretty substantial daily copay. It's $160 some a day, putting $170 a day in a facility that you pay your copay. So I see it all the time where at 20 days, people are walking, running, or crawling out of the nursing home because they don't want to pay the $170 daily copay.
Yeah.
So Medicare will help, but just a smidgen. Say smidgen.
Smidgen.
My grandma used to say that. My grandma used to say that all the time. I just love smidgen, just a smidgen, Scott. I love a smidgen, so a little bit, for a little bit. So Medicare helps, but again, it doesn't do the job at all.
And Medicaid, you just spoke about a little bit ago, as far as it's poverty line kind of thing. So does that do anything?
Yeah, you got to run out of money. That's the key.
Jeez.
Now, again, there's Medicare rules and regulations in every state, but basically you got to spend down your money. There's a certain amount of money that you can keep, but you got to be very cautious because those numbers are low and those are ever changing, right? But you got to spend that money down before the state will actually pay. And so you got to be cautious with that. Some of these people say, well, they can't take my house. Well, you know what? The spouse living at home, generally speaking, can keep the home. Mm-hmm. But the problem is the state will want to try to get the benefits back out of that home once the person, when they try to do some estate recovery, right?
Yep.
So they'll let you keep the house, but the spouse at home that passes away, that's an issue. So again, using up that situation to qualify for Medicaid, you got to spend all your money down. And a lot of times people just don't want to end up a ward of the state, right?
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. The fourth thing that you had said was using your own money, and I'm thinking about the answer of this one, unless you're Warren Buffett.
Well, that's the key. A lot of times people, I'll just pay for myself. I've done well. I've saved up some money. I got a $600,000 401k or whatever. Right? I'll just pay for myself. Well, people just don't understand that.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, go to my website, duckduckplan.com, and I'd love to send you a free copy of my book. Schedule a 15-minute call with me. Let's talk through a few of these things, and I'll send you a free copy of my book, Don't Go Broke in a Nursing Home. It talks about some of these ideas and some of these concepts so you become educated and kind of know. Spending your own money, you start taking a look at the average cost. Well, in Southern Ohio, we're looking at $8,000 or so, $8,100 in Southern Ohio. Some are less and some are more. But you times that out by 12 months, we're talking $95,000 a year in long-term care costs. That eats up assets pretty quick. Think about writing a check for $9,000 out of your savings and check out every single month.
Yeah.
Think about how significant that is.
That'd be painful. Very, very painful.
That'd be painful. And people say, well, the average person doesn't spend a long time in the nursing home. Well, depending on what report you read, maybe the average nursing home stays like 30 months. But, you develop a situation with memory, Alzheimer's, dementia, some of those type of things, which is becoming incredibly prevalent today, right?
Yep.
Now your stay can be 5+ years, 5 to 7 years. Well, now thinking about those numbers going out. So here's the key. What if there's a way? What if there's a way you can reposition some of that money, re-strategize it, and be able to protect it and create more dollars to pay for long-term care? What if there's a way to do that? Wouldn't you want to learn about that rather than just saying, hey, I'll just spend my own money?
Sounds to me like you're talking about a strategic plan.
A strategic plan. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Number 5.
I always tell people, listen, you worked hard, you've been successful, you saved up that money, and did somebody give you all that? And they get mad at me. No, I worked my butt off for 50 years. So great. So you were smart. So you leveraged, right? Because here's the concept of leverage. How do you get a bunch of money? One or two ways. Either somebody gives it to you as inheritance, right? Which not a lot of people have. But the other way is you leveraged, right? You either leveraged time to make money, or you started a business and you leveraged some of your money or did some investing and leveraged some of your money to make more money, right? It's the concept of leveraging. Well, this is the same concept. What if we can leverage some of your assets, some of your money, and pay for long-term care? Could that be a cool situation?
That would be great, yeah.
Absolutely right. So again, learning about those things is crucially important. Again, it leads right into the last concept, is having a strategic plan in place to help pay for that care when that happens. And sometimes people avoid the discussion of long-term care. They don't want to look at this stuff because I understand long-term care can be very expensive. In the past, it's been expensive. And the issue is long-term care, used to work where you paid the premium, big fat premium. You had it for 20 years. And you never collected on that. You never went in the nursing home, and some people are mad. You should be happy. Thank the Lord you didn't end up in a nursing home, right? But some people are mad. Why? Well, they spent $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 in that premium over the lifetime. They should be happy you never used it, but part of insurance is, hey, you could spend money on insurance premium and never use it. But today there's strategic plans that actually, if you never use the policy, you can get all your money back.
Really?
Now, kind of intriguing.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
Kind of intriguing. Yep, kind of intriguing. So it's kind of an important situation. Got to learn. You got to become educated. Get my book. Don't go broke in a nursing home. Spend 15 minutes on the phone with me. I'll ask you a few questions. I'll send you out the book and a couple other pieces just to kind of look at. No obligation, but just learn more, man. Learn more.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so it's obviously strategic planning is the best bet, right? That's what people need to be doing, and that's why they need to be looking at the book and getting educated and having the conversation with you. But I do have a couple questions real quick on what's part of that strategic plan. You mentioned Medicare supplemental plans earlier. I don't exactly understand those. I know there's group retiree plans that are out there, and also, like my father, he's a veteran. So what about VA? Are any of those part of a strategic plan?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up also. Medicare supplements, there's a couple different kind of Medicare supplements out there, but again, Medicare supplement, the nature of a supplement is to supplement something, right? So a Medicare supplement supplements Medicare. So here's the deal. If Medicare doesn't approve it or pay for it, your supplement's not going to pay for it all either. So again, Medicare pays very little. So your Medicare supplements, I don't care if it's whether it's a traditional Medicare supplement, a Medicare Advantage, a Medicare retiree group plan, if you retired from the federal government or one of the automakers or whatever, those retiree group plans are going to pay in conjunction with Medicare, and that's it. So nobody's, which is all skilled care, right? Skilled care. Skilled care is at high acute level of care. The problem with all this long-term care stuff, it falls into that second category of care, which is custodial. Well, custodials, when you're having a problem with what we call ADLs, activities of daily living, which is dressing and bathing and toileting and transferring, moving from here to here, right? That's the stuff we do every single day, and we take for granted until we can't do it no more. See, that's the custodial care, and nobody pays for that unless you have a strategic plan that you're paying an extra premium for, and that's going to cover that specific area of care. So it's kind of important to understand those wonderful retiree group plans could be great for your health, but they're not going to help you when it comes to long-term care. And sometimes people don't believe me. So I say, listen, get your benefits book out, because it'll say in there, it'll either say, hey, we only pay for skilled care, which is high acute level short, or it'll say we don't pay for custodial. Same thing, just said two different ways. Got it. Right? Okay. And I'm glad you brought up a veteran. Your dad was a veteran, and man, I really appreciate veterans. My dad was a veteran too, and I'm so grateful for the veterans. I mean, they give us the ability to get out there and help people and share, and we wouldn't be doing any of this without our wonderful veterans, that's for sure. But the veterans have also some very cool benefits, health and drug benefits, but specifically, they have what's called an aid and attendance benefit. Now, this aid and attendance benefit is a benefit that can actually help pay for some long-term care costs, which is kind of neat. So if you're a veteran and you served during an active conflict, you could possibly qualify for that aid attendance benefit. Now, again, if you get my book, I talk about some stuff in that, and there's some different reasons and how-tos. Don't have time to talk about that today, but that is absolutely a way to be able to consider. Say, hey, listen, this might help us with our care, the aid attendance benefit.
All right. I'm definitely going to make sure we get the book for my dad. For sure. All right. In fact, just one more time for the audience, how do they get that book?
So you just go onto my website, duckduckplan.com, and you can actually book a 15-minute call with me right from that website. I'm going to ask you a few questions, because what I'd like to do is I'd like to send you the book, but there's a couple other pieces I can kind of tailor to send it to you also. And I'm happy to send that to you at no cost, so you become, learn the educational process. And then if we need to talk about some product specifics and that kind of stuff, we can kind of surely do it after that. But, when it boils down to it, there's basically just two ways to, cover long-term care. Either A, you reposition some some vulnerable assets, again, a strategic concept to create more benefits, or you be sure that we try to guarantee our future income. Because if you don't have a plan in action, guess what's going to happen? You're going to need more income. In the future, you're always going to need more income, but especially when it comes to healthcare, you're going to need more income. So figuring this out is important. And we talked about, sometimes people think, well, there's not much, we don't have very, very long stays in the nursing home. You look at statistical averages. Sometimes, Eric, I tell people sometimes the short stays scare me worse than the long stays. Because think about this. Somebody's in the nursing home, they fall and break their hip, they get their Medicare days, their supplement days, and that's it, they're done. But they still need more care. They just aren't healing fast enough, that kind of stuff. And then guess what? Maybe they're in a nursing home for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 months. At $8,000 a month? Yeah. $8,000 a month times 10 months, $80,000. You pull out that $80,000 out of your retirement savings, and you don't have a very big retirement savings to begin with. Sometimes that short stay is more devastating than the long stays. I mean, realistically, the long stays, you're going to end up on Medicaid sooner or later anyways, unless, again, you have a monster-sized estate. Yeah. So, again, becoming educated is actually the absolutely crucial element to this concept today.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Scott, again, thank you so much for the information. Thank you for the resources that people can reach out to you, get. And I enjoy spending time with you just like this. This is great. Thank you so much.
This is great. I know this was a tough, heavy topic, and it's kind of hard to talk about. But let's just finish up on a little bit of a lighter note. And this is a reality, right? So there was this elderly couple who noticed they started getting old. They just started forgetting stuff, right? So they decided they were going to go to the doctor and talk to the doctor and find out what they should do. Well, the doctor said, "Listen, just start writing stuff down. Everybody goes through this. We forget stuff. It's just going to happen." So when they went home, the old lady said to the husband, "Say, listen, you're right. We need to write this stuff down. But guess what? Can you go in the kitchen and get me a bowl of ice cream?" So the husband said, "Okay, I'll get you some ice cream." And so the lady says, "Listen, you better write that down. Remember what the doctor said? You better write that down." He said, "No. I can remember. I remember. You want a bowl of ice cream?" She said, "Well, yeah, but I want a bowl of ice cream, but I want some whipped cream on it. So write that down." I'll remember. Also, I want a cherry on top of that. Write that down. He goes, I'll remember. So all of a sudden, she said, "Oh, whatever, right?" So the guy goes into the kitchen to get his wife a bowl of ice cream, right? With whipped cream and a cherry on top. And she didn't write anything down. So he comes back after like 25, 30 minutes. He finally comes back. She's wondering what the heck's going on. And she told her, she said, "Hey, listen, where's my ice cream? What's going on?" I said, Did you get it? And he said, well, what do you mean? I worked it. I was in the kitchen for about 20 minutes. I got the stuff ready for it. And he hands her a plate of bacon and eggs. And the old wife looks at the plate and stares at it for a minute and says, "Where's the toast?" But right? Yeah. So my point is, listen, we're all going to deal with this. We're all going to forget some things. We have to deal with in life. Be positive, be focused, plan the best you possibly can. And remember, today is the first day of the rest of your life, man. Live life like it's your job.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming by today, Eric. Appreciate the conversation.
Heck yeah, thank you. And of course, our last thank you always goes to you, the listening audience. Thanks for tuning in and listening to The Scotty Show with Scott Leonardi. If you have not subscribed to the podcast yet, please click the subscribe now button below. This way, when Scott comes out with a new podcast, it'll show up directly on your listening device. This makes it much easier to share these podcasts with your friends and family. Again, thanks for listening today. For everyone at Complete Solutions, this is Eric Johnson reminding you it's time to get your ducks in a row.
Thank you for listening to The Scotty Show. Remember, today is the first day of the rest of your life. Live life like it's your job. Click the subscribe button below to be notified when new episodes become available. The information covered and posted represents the views and opinions of the guest and does not necessarily represent the views or opinions of Complete Solutions, Inc. The content has been made available for informational and educational purposes only. The content is not intended to be a substitute for professional investing advice, tax advice, or legal advice. Always seek the advice of your financial advisor or other qualified financial service provider with any questions you may have regarding your investment planning.